That's money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
Hey guys, Say Miss Wage is back again, and we are going to continue reading Using Money, Understanding Money, Using Money. Okay, we have a lot to get going with today, so I will go ahead and show our PowerPoint here so we can get started. So this is lesson 3. We are going to go ahead and read pages 16 through 21. Okay, so what are you learning today? Let's talk about it. So I'm learning to determine the main idea and key details in a text. Those are things that we've done before, specifically so that you can explain the concepts of checks in online banking. We really want to be able to take the main idea and these details in the text to be able to explain what the author is talking about to us in our book, Using Money. Okay, I'll know I'm successful when I can, of course, identify the main idea, identify supporting details, and then since our purpose of talking about main idea and the details is to be able to explain these concepts of banking, what they're talking about in the book, then you'll be successful when you can explain these banking concepts. So we want you to be able to understand what we're reading. Okay, so let's jump into our vocab. The first thing we have is like a phrase, actually. So we have setting money aside. Okay, and I bet you've heard of this before, but really that's just saving your money for later. And a lot of times when I think about that, I think about putting it in my piggy bank. Okay, so we have setting money aside. And then our other word we have is convenience. Okay, so that is the state, like being able to do something with just only a little bit of effort or difficulty. Like it's not hard, it is, as our picture says, easy. So we have like the that's easy button. That's easy. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started reading. So it said our first heading is what is a checking account used for? Savings accounts are used for setting money aside for later use. Checking accounts, however, are used for spending. They provide an easy way to pay for things without using cash. You cannot get a checking account until you are older, but you should know how they work. When you open a checking account, you receive a book of checks. A check is a piece of paper on which you write the date, the name of the person or business you are paying, and the amount you are paying. Then you sign your name. Your parents might use checks to pay the plumber or an electrician. Your grandparents might send you a check for your birthday. Checks can also be used to pay for services such as cable. So again, we had that vocab word right at the beginning. The savings accounts are used for setting money aside for later use. Checking accounts are used for spending. Okay, and anymore, we don't see a lot of people using checks, but they do still exist. I have checks that I use for just certain things, okay, but most of the time we pay for everything in a different way, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But just know that checks do exist. Not a lot of people use them, but they do still work. Okay, when you write a check, money comes out of your account and it goes into the account of the person or business you write the check to. If you do not have enough money in your account, your check will bounce and you will have to usually pay a fee. Therefore, you should know how much money is in your account before you write a check. Okay, that's pretty smart. Each time you make a deposit, write down the amount and add it to the account balance. Each time you pay for something, write down the amount and subtract it from the balance. Checkbooks usually come with a check register, which is a place to record your deposits and payments. Okay, so usually in a checkbook, they have a little section for you to write down, okay, how much you're spending and how much you're putting in your account so you can keep track of that. So you have to do some adding and subtracting. Real life, guys. Okay, so our focus question is, let's use some key details to explain the meaning of the word bounced. Or bounce. Right here at the top, okay, it says if you do not have enough money in your account, your check will bounce and you will usually have to pay a fee. So if I'm looking at this, it says I don't have enough money in my account. The check will bounce. Okay, Well, I know if I'm trying to pay someone and I don't have enough money, I'm not actually able to pay them. Okay, if I want to buy a game on the PlayStation store, but I don't have enough money, it's not going to let me buy it. Okay, so the difference with checks is you could write it down and say, oh, yes, I'm going to pay you that. But it gets to the bank and they say, you don't have the money for that. They say, nope. Okay, we can't pay that person. And also now we're going to charge you a fee because you tried to pay someone and you didn't have enough money to do it. Okay, so that's a bad deal. First off, you didn't get to pay the person you were supposed to. And second, then you get charged extra because you wrote a check that you didn't have enough money to write. Okay. And it says many people use checks to pay their monthly bills. Okay. And that does happen a lot of times now, though. We do have online banking and online pay to where you don't actually have to write a check. Okay. Which is convenient now. And then it says checks are being used less and less. By the time you are old enough to pay for things like internet service, you'll probably use a different method. Like me, Miss Wagers, like I said, I don't write a lot of checks. I do still have them because I need them every once in a while. But most of my bills I just pay online. And I bet your parents probably do too. What can people use instead of checks? Okay, so let's get into this. This is kind of more important right now. When you open a checking account, you also receive a debit card. A debit card can be used to make purchases at the stores and restaurants. Instead of writing a check, you just swipe your card through the card reader. Okay, then you either sign the electronic pad or you enter your personal identification number or PIN, which is a password made up of numbers. The money immediately comes out of your account. It's just like paying with cash. You can also use a debit card at an automated teller machine. That's an ATM. Okay, did you know that ATM stood for automated teller machine? And that is where you withdraw cash from your account. So you take out money from your account. Make sure you know your account balance before you use your debit card. Another way to make payments from your checking account is an electronic funds transfer, EFT. Instead of handwriting a check, you electronically transfer money over the internet from your account to the company you want to pay. You can set it up so the payments come out automatically on the same day each month. EFT is faster and safer than mailing a check. When you mail a check, it can get lost along the way, and that's true. Okay, just like when you write a check, you must record your debit card and EFT payments in your check register so you always know your account balance. Okay, so there's a lot of information on this page for sure, and especially since you probably don't have a debit card or a checking account yet, this can get really confusing. So let's focus. What do you think the author thinks is safer? Paper banking or online banking? And we want to make sure that we use text evidence. So go ahead and pause your video for a second and think to yourself, okay, is paper banking better, so like writing checks, or do you think online banking is better? What do you think the author thinks? Pause. Okay, let's start looking for some text evidence. I've noticed that in the text, okay, it says just like, oh, I was trying to look right here, just like when you write a check, you have to record that. That's true, but that's not telling us what's better. I have to look and see what can be better. It says instead of handwriting a check, you can electronically transfer money over the internet. You can set it up so that they make the payments on the same day. EFT is faster and safer. So right here, I noticed that it says the electronic funds, so online banking, is faster and safer than mailing a check. When you mail a check, it can get lost along the way. So I'm thinking that the author thinks that online banking is better because they just said, or safer because it said that if you're mailing a check, that it could get lost, okay? And if you're doing it online, it can't really get lost, okay? So that's a thought. And then a helpful hint, do not tell anyone your PIN. If someone gets your debit card and knows your PIN, that person can get into your bank account and steal your money. Ooh, so that's kind of dangerous too with online banking. Okay, that makes it a little less safe, but I'm in control of that because if I don't tell anyone my PIN, okay, then they can't steal the money that way by knowing my PIN. Okay, so I still think that the author thinks that online banking is safer than paper banking because the paper check, it could just get lost in the mail or someone could misplace it. Okay, and then it says ATMs usually give cash in one denomination, $20 bills. Therefore, you should withdraw an amount that is a multiple of 20. And that's true. Some ATMs have like tens, but most of the time, if you're getting money out of an ATM, you're either getting like 20, 40, 60, 80, or $100 and so on. Multiples of 20. Remember, a multiple is like when you skip count. What is online banking? So let's look at this. Paying bills through electronic funds transfers is one example of an online banking. So that's what we just talked about when it said you could do the EFT and you can pay your bills each month automatically. Okay. Through online banking, you can take care of normal banking activities over the internet from your home computer. You can apply for new accounts, check the balances of your current accounts, and transfer money between accounts. Okay, and it says some banks offer higher interest rates if you open a savings account online. Interesting. Okay, so online banking can be really helpful because then I go online on my bank and I can check and see how much money do I have in my account. Okay, the benefits of online banking. The biggest advantage of online banking is convenience. Okay, so that's easy, doesn't take as much effort. Okay, as long as you have internet access, you can log onto your bank's website at any time of the day or night. You can also get up-to-date information on your account balances and activity. This is a good way to make sure no one has stolen your identity and used your money. You can read more about identity theft on page 28. So this is a really great feature to point out with nonfiction text. Okay, they're giving us information, so they're saying they told us a little bit about this, but they say, hey, if you want more information, just go check out this page. Okay, so that's really helpful in informational text. They can kind of tell you where to get more information. Another benefit is security. Bank statements that are mailed can get lost or stolen, along with your account information. This will not happen if you read your statements online. That's true. Are there things you cannot do through online banking? Unless you have direct deposit, where your employer electronically deposits your paycheck into your account, you still have to go to the bank to deposit cash and checks. You can use the ATM to make a deposit, but it is safer to hand the money directly to a bank teller. After the teller puts the money in your account, he or she will give you a receipt. Okay, so again, I want us to stop and think for a second, because the whole heading right here was the benefits of online banking. Besides security, what are some of the benefits of online banking? Again, I'm going to give you a second. Go ahead and pause your video and look through the text to see what are some good things that's a benefit of online banking. Okay, so let's look at this. Obviously, it says right here in the text, another benefit is security. Okay, so we already knew that, and our question said besides security. So what are other things? Well, if I'm looking at this first sentence, the biggest advantage of online banking is convenience. Okay, so that would be a benefit. Okay, it's convenient, it's easy. Okay, it says I can log in and check my account any time of the day or night. Okay, so that would be a benefit. Okay, I can make sure that no one's used my money. Okay, that's like when they steal your identity, they use your money without your permission. Okay, and I can read my bank statements online and they won't get lost in the mail. Okay, so those are all benefits. All right, so we have reached the end of our reading and our lesson for today. So our main focus today was to be able to use that text evidence and the main idea to be able to understand what we're reading. Okay, so we really focused today on going back in the text to be able to answer these questions. So what are 3 things that you learned from today's reading? Okay, and I want you to make sure that you're answering incomplete sentences and really make sure you're using that text evidence. Okay, a one-word answer is not going to be good enough. That's not really telling us what you learned if you just said debit cards. Well, what about them? Okay, so go ahead and make sure that you write down 3 things that you learned. You could go back and rewatch the video to listen, or just look through the slides, okay, to look back in the text, okay, and have those 3 things that you learned and be ready to share with your class. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a great day.